All right, what's going on, guys? Dan Watson. This is the new Canon R5II, and it is actually completely loaded out with the even newer CF-R20EP battery crib. This has a cooling fan built into it and an Ethernet port on the side. And I think if you're shooting long form video, especially with the R5II, this is going to be a must-have accessory. Unfortunately for me, it hasn't been quite as good as I hoped, and I think you need to know the reasons why. So, two reasons that you might want this, and the biggest one is going to be actual overheating. In all of my tests so far, the R5II has actually overheated faster than my original Canon R5, which that camera was awful when it first came out, but after like 6 months and a couple of firmware updates, it actually got pretty good to the point where now it can outlast cameras like the A1, the A7R5. The Canon R5 is actually doing better than those cameras. So we are 30 minutes into the test. I am about to lose the R5II. It is completely overheated. It's giving me a red flag on there. Any second, we're gonna lose that one. Update on the R5. Right now I've got absolutely no overheating warning at all, and the Panasonic S5 2X is also doing perfect and no overheating. I have the yellow overheating warning on the Nikon Z8. It will turn red when it gets a little bit precarious, but right now we are still good to go on all the cameras except that Canon R5II. Now what's really interesting is Canon did put vents on this camera, but they put them at the bottom of the camera, right where like your tripod plate would go. So most tripod plates would partially block them unless you're using this, which does have active cooling in it, and the vents get moved to the front and then pull air in here through the camera and those vents on there and then out through the side of the camera. The other reason that you're gonna want this is because of battery life. So I'm getting about 75, 80 minutes of actual recording in this oversampled 4K, which will get me through a wedding, but maybe not an interview, maybe not even like a YouTube video talking head. So plus any videographer knows that you can't actually do a battery swap really easily while a camera is on a tripod or a gimbal without something like this, where you can just flip this and have access to the batteries on the back. So having that ability is really awesome. It's potentially massive. So let's talk about the grip itself before we get into kind of the actual lengths that I was able to shoot with it, because there are a few disappointments here. First of all, the batteries on this, they are not hot swappable. You cannot change a battery while recording, even though you can access each battery independently. There's no ability to do that. Plus, this is interesting. So it will actually kill the entire camera as soon as this is just like rotated slightly. That's it. I didn't even have to open the battery door. That was enough for it to kill the camera. And if you are actively recording, it shuts everything down and stops recording, which that always makes me super nervous, because if you're in the middle of recording and the camera shuts down, there's just that much more room for some kind of corruption to happen inside of the card. So I don't know. I feel like this could have been hot swappable. It would have been perfect. You can access all of the batteries independently. It seems amazing to be able to do that. You can use a wire to power one of these from like AC power or something like that. But as far as the batteries go, there is no hot swappability of it. Now, functionality wise, it's okay. It's just not great. So there's no auto mode at all. You would think that there would be some kind of automatic cooling mode that when like a computer, that when the camera starts to overheat, the fan would increase, and maybe there'd be like a priority slider to prioritize cooling or prioritize low noise. There is nothing like that, and a lot of other cameras work that way. So what you get is two different settings. So we can keep the fan completely off, or we can set it to an on always at set speed, which is basically a manual mode. So in this mode, the camera is going to basically set it at 3 different settings. You have a fan rotational speed of high, medium, and low. I will say this high, this is annoyingly loud. Like, you will notice this in any room. Maybe you could use this outdoors if there's a lot of just natural sound going on, but for anything else, I do think this is too loud. I'll go ahead and put it on a second. So the fan kind of rotates up, and then I mean, it's it's noticeably loud. Like if you are indoors in a room, this is going to be way too high. Medium, I do think is low enough for most settings. Like you can definitely still hear it, especially if you're close to the camera. I don't think off-camera mics will pick this up too much. Maybe some on-camera mics are going to pick this up, but it'd probably be acceptable for most cases. But side note, so I use a Sony FX3, which has an active fan in it. I use Panasonic cameras with active cooling in it. Both of those have automatic modes, actually. In every case that I've used those in, even running them for hours, running them in the heat, I don't think any of them have got to the sound, the volume of this in the medium setting. Now, low is very good. So I think this is the setting I would like to use it at, maybe medium if that actually worked in a pinch. Now there is another mode, it's called on high speed in standby. And what this does is it turns the camera, the fan, to high as long as the camera isn't recording, and then once you do hit record, it can turn it down to low or medium if you wanted to. The problem is I do think that the high is just a lot of fan noise, so it's definitely noticeable. In most cases, I would maybe do it like a medium in the standby and a low when it's recording, but that's not an option on here. So you have to keep it in this absolute high speed fan noise, and it's just a lot of noise. But if the camera starts to overheat, you can't actually manually go in and change the fan speeds or any settings while recording. So if you're shooting in the low, which is what I would love to start it out at, and then the camera just starts to overheat and you weren't expecting it and the warnings come on, you can't change that at any point without stopping the recording, because Canon actually locks out the entire menu while recording. You can't do anything in that. And then even the only thing that you can really do is hit the Q menu, but that is literally just a volume control and Kelvin temperature. So that's literally like all you can change while shooting. You also can't map this functionality to any of the buttons or dials, and you also can't change that Q menu at all. So if Canon gave some ability to be able to map this or add this to that Q menu, that adding it to the Q menu would be the smartest thing to do. I don't know why we can't change that. Most cameras have some kind of customizable function menu that you can access while recording, or at least some of the functions while recording. So whatever it's set to when you start recording is where it's going to stay. So in light of this, I felt it was best to test the fan in the medium setting, because that was like the loudest I would like to go in most cases before it just got too loud. So my first test was in the sun on a pretty warm day. It is still 90 plus degrees and super humid because I live in Florida. Now when I tested this with the fan grip on the camera and it's set to medium, I only got 35 minutes of recording before it overheated, which was really surprising to me. So right now I'm doing an overheating test again on the Canon R5II, but this time with the battery grip that has an integrated fan into it to help cool the camera. I've only been recording for 15 minutes and that overheating warning is almost halfway up already. I don't know why, but this is just, it's not very effective, at least in Florida heat. And again, this is with the overheating warning set to high, and I only do one overheating test per day. So this is with the camera completely cold before it was shooting. I honestly thought this was pretty horrible. So I waited for the camera to cool off enough that I can turn it back on, and then I set the fan speed to high and put it back out into the heat. And for me, this is what actually worked. So it was still giving me a warning. It was still pretty much overheating the camera to the max amount, but it never actually shut down on me. So if it is super hot outside, if it's like 90 degrees plus, and especially if you're shooting in the sun, which is unfortunately like 5 months of the year where I live, the fan is going to need to set to high in order to really be usable in these kind of situations. And that means it's going to be noticeably loud. Now indoors, things get a little bit better. So even without the grip, I can actually get over an hour on this camera without overheating. It does get pretty hot. The overheating timer comes up pretty high, but it never actually shut down on me. I got about 80 minutes before the battery died on me. So now testing this with 2 batteries in it and the battery grip, I was basically able to double the recording time and not have to worry as much about overheating, because I can get both double the battery life and then double the life on the overheating. So the grip does work. You do get longer recording times, especially indoors, because now you have two batteries and now you have active cooling. And it does fix a few issues, like being able to change the batteries from the back of the camera, even though you don't have the ability to hot swap these. Plus, the vent is now on the front of the camera, which is just a better place for it than right here by your tripod plate. But it's not as effective as I think it should be, and the camera will still run hotter and louder than my other cameras with active cooling. And this is getting really expensive. So you have a $4,300 camera with a $400 battery grip, when cameras like the Nikon Z8 can record longer without overheating. And Panasonic has figured out how to put active cooling in their photo cameras without overheating, and they still are pretty much silent. So I don't know, maybe this will get better with some firmware updates. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, so comment below. The full R5II review should be out next week, so subscribe. And I don't want this to sound negative. Like, I absolutely love this camera. I think it's great. I just thought this battery grip would be a little more effective than it actually is. But I also have the ability for you to send me a voicemail or voice memo with your thoughts on anything, including this, something else photography related. I can actually play those in my next YouTube live and on the podcast. So definitely check that out and send me some of those, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Now, hope you guys are doing amazing. I'll catch you soon in the next one.